Welcome back, friends, to the homestead. So I hope you guys like show and tell, because there's going to be some of that this week. As you know, we're selling our house, and I don't know what happened this weekend, but we are booked solid for house showing. So I can't even go in there. Plus, Mrs. W doesn't want me in there because I go in and make a mess that she has to clean up for the showing. So that's it. So I can't. I'm out for the whole day. So I'm hiding out down here. So we're going to be doing show and tell, which is one of my favorite videos to do. I always enjoy that. I think how I started watching YouTube videos was the gear reviews, knife reviews, and backpacks and all those things. And I've always enjoyed it, and it's fun. My favorite thing is on a weekend when I don't have anything to do, I like to sit and, fiddle with all my gear and all my stuff and bring my laptop out to the shop and sit down and watch those channels. You always find out, what it is you're working on and go find someone that's reviewed it or doing it. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do. So today we're going to be talking about the long-awaited Minuteman concept. So what is a Minuteman? Well, I'm going to give you a little history lesson here. So back in the early days of our country, before we were a country, when we were a British colony, and there was starting to be talk of wanting to be independence because of taxation without representation and other issues, a group of men took it upon themselves to arm themselves, to train themselves to form what was known as the Minutemen, or a private militia. They weren't state sanctioned. They got together, groups, communities. They purchased their own ammunition. They did their own training. They did their own organization and their own command structure. So it's a rich history that we have, a rich and proud history of the Minuteman. And where the name came from is that these men would be able to respond immediately, within a minute of a call to arms, to go and to defend or to do whatever need be. Now, we've come a long way since then, and we've lived in relative peace and safety for a long time, but times are changing, aren't they? So I think that this idea of the Minuteman is completely appropriate, and something that if 10% of us did this, imagine the change that we could do in our communities if they do come under attack from various different players, right? So what would be cool, and I'm going to get to the kit here. You can fast forward if you don't want to hear my monologuing. What would be cool is if we could come up with, and I know there's some engineers or not engineers, I don't know, analytical peoples who like to make lists and spreadsheets and all that. What would be really cool is if we could have kind of a baseline for guys to start, and we could have a good, better, best, right? Talking about gear. So keep it really simple. You need this, and you need this. Some things to consider. And also, it's important to have some bit of standardization. You don't want to have your neighborhood watch or your Minutemen group, right? You don't want them showing up with multiple calibers and all different things. There needs to be some standard. So I'm not telling you what rifle to go buy or what carbine or what optic or this and that, but it would be nice to standardize platforms and calibers, right? So let's say we're going to select, we're going to go with AR-15, pick your poison, and we're going to go with Glock 9mm, right? So that if you needed to swap around or throw someone a mag or this or that, it would all be the same, right? Only makes sense. Why do you think the military does it? Also, communications, and don't make this to the point where it's so expensive that no one can get into it. You don't have to have a carbon ballistic helmet when you can get by with a Protec. Is it ideal? No, but can you make it work? Yes, you can. So it would be nice to have that standardized list that grab said rifle, a bag like this, and I think the bag should have specifications too. It's got to have a carry strap, backpack strap, so you can grab and go. This stuff needs to be, you know what? You've got all this time on your hands for being locked up in COVID, right? And you've got all the resources on YouTube. There's no reason why you shouldn't be putting this together. In this kit, for me, I'm going to say what should be in this is, first off, a chest rig. So basically, if you don't know what that is, then you probably should not be watching this video. But start with that, and then you could add body armor if you wanted to, a helmet of some sort, and a rifle. So what you need is you need the ability to carry your gear, you need the ability to carry body armor, and you need the ability to have a helmet and safety equipment, which might include goggles or hearing protection, right? So that's kind of the concept. So you get the point, right? And again, if you are asking and you don't understand why this is necessary, and I get this, this video is just not for you. Not everyone's going to do this. Remember that less than 10% of the people fought in the Revolutionary War, and look at what they accomplished. So this is for some people and not for others. And it's some of us have made the decision, and a lot of that, a lot of people that you see that go into the trouble of being responsible CCW or law enforcement, or the, you know, that's the type of people that it draws. It's a small percentage, and I count myself in that percentage, and a lot of you that watch my channel don't. So if you don't, and you don't understand this, and this is confusing to you, and you have never seen this before, then this is not a video for you. This is not something that you'd probably understand or even have any concept of. So, all right, let's get into it. Now, I'm gonna get accused of LARPing. What is LARPing? LARPing is live action role playing, right? That's copying someone who doesn't do something, copying someone who does. And to that I say, you're absolutely right. Am I a fool? Am I, with no combat experience, am I going to think that I can actually come up with something better than guys that have made these decisions and have put these kits and this equipment together for the last, what, 2 decades of war this country's been in? That's the nice thing about that. I guess the benefit of that is that look at all the knowledge that we have received from that. And what's so cool is these guys that have got this knowledge and experience that only comes from great sacrifice and even death of loved friends and loved ones. They're bringing that back to us now, and you have a lot of that stuff on YouTube. So absolutely, I am going to copy to the T this gear and this stuff, because those guys learned it the hard way, and why would I try to reinvent the wheel, right? You know, when you learn to become a painter, you know, you copy the masters. You have a picture of a portrait painted by one of the great masters of the greats, and you copy it color for color, and you mimic this, right? That's how you learn. Then when you get experience, then you can go off and you can find your own way and your own style. So yeah, do copy exactly what people who know what they're doing do, and that's what you're going to see here. So I'm not trying to pretend to be anything. I'm just not an idiot. I'm going to learn from their experience. So comes down to this rifle. We're not going to get into that. 5.56 AR platform. Get with your group of guys, get the stuff together. Body armor, helmet. So we're going to cover body armor and helmet and how I've set this up. So should we start with the helmet? Let's start with the top. All right, now if you don't have money to go into a tactical ballistic helmet, and I didn't get a ballistic helmet, I have a carbon bump helmet, but you can go with a ProTech, right? And there's a ProTech helmet could be had. I've used them kiteboarding, I've used them skiing, I've used them when I used to BMX bike. I mean, they're great helmets, and they'd be just perfect, and you can have those things for about 30 bucks, right? So some things to consider. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to consider. I'm just going to show you what I put together. Take it for what it's worth. It's not worth a lot, but that's what we're doing, because we have nothing else to make content on today. This is an M-Tech carbon helmet. This is a bump helmet, but the fact that it's carbon, it would probably offer some sort of resistance. Who knows? I don't know. But you're definitely going to want a helmet. So how I have mine set up here is these helmets, you know, I got to remember not everyone's has seen all this stuff. So these are designed for soldiers. They have a mounting system on the side you can see here. Some are proprietary. This particular one here is M-Lock, and it gives you the option for, you can mount different accessories and things on there to help you do what you need to do, right? So one thing that, you know, a guy really wants to look after is hearing protection. So funny, you know, growing up in a hunting family, that was never even considered. We used to even sight our rifles in, my granddad and I, without any hearing protection. 300 Weatherby Magnums. I mean, good grief. It was a different time. You know, my granddad washed his hands with solvent before he went in to eat as a mechanic. So hearing protection. And hearing protection is really wonderful, but if you need to hear what's going on around you, you want to have something that's active, right? Something that has amplifiers in it. And these are Peltors. These are a little more on the high end, but you can get a lower end budget that I've used as well too. So what that gives you is they have little microphones in the front, and then you can have various levels, and you can hear what's going on. And even these amplify it. You can hear better than you can normally. So it gives you like superhuman hearing. And that is all tied in with the helmet in one piece, so that if there is a loud noise like a shot or something, they damp down really quickly so that they protect the ear. So that's what these are for. And they just mount on a Peltor style mount up on the helmet if you don't want to use them. So that's kind of cool. They actually work really good. This here on the side is a little, I forget the name of it. Kingston, is it Kingston? It's just a small light. right there with a beautiful interface. It has one press gives you a red. So at nighttime, if you need to navigate or read maps and such, it doesn't blow out your night vision. One more push gives you a brighter option, and a press and hold gives you a white light. Very simple, nice, clean interface, and that just mounts on the helmet from a little bracket made by my friends over at Umbrella Torch. They sent that to me. Very, very cool. So that's just a small light just for administrative deals right there. Coming around here, Umbrella Torch also, this is a little proprietary thing that they make. It's a bracket that mounts on that holds some sort of a light on there on just a piece of rail. I didn't know about this until he sent it to me, but I've worked with this stuff at night. You know, I practice the best I can by myself, so I'm familiar with it. But this is really clever because what it does is when you reach around and turn this on, it shines a light up that reflects off the ceiling, so you get this beautiful diffused light that lights up the whole area. So if you need to do something in an area and you need to see and you need to be hands-free and you don't want to be, you know, try to use your weapon light and stuff and muzzling people, it's really incredible. It works super, super good, especially with low ceilings. You just get this nice diffused light. You can turn it on, turn it off. Really a great concept. I had no idea how handy it'd be. On the back here, some guys, if you're running night vision, this is a Wilcox mount here. This is probably about as good as you can get for your night vision. When you get the night vision on the front, and I run a PVS 14, just a single monocular, it's a little bit heavy, and so some guys will put weight on the back to kind of counterbalance that. I had a cheap helmet that was necessary. I actually had to put a piece of steel weight on the back because it kept wanting to kind of migrate forward. What I found with the M-Tech helmet, the M-Tech Flux Carbon, is that the suspension system in this thing is so good and so dialed in, it doesn't move at all. It's the best fitting helmet I've ever had. Took an age to get it fitted to myself because it comes with all different sizes of thickness of pads, but once you get it dialed in, it fits so snug. I can show you here. This is going to be a long video, isn't it? If it's so snug that you really don't even hardly need the chin strap. It's that good. It's completely snugged up and comfortable. I've worn it up to 6 hours or so, and I've never had any headaches or any problems with it. It's a very good helmet. But on the back, my friends at Microbat, just their small candy pouch. I just keep extra batteries and glow sticks and different things in there for the helmet. What I've tried to do is I like to have the batteries for the particular unit on the unit itself. So if the AAAs go out on the Peltors, I've got batteries back here. If the CR123s go out on the X400, I can swap those out, right? And always lithium. Also on the top here, this is also from Microbat. This is a small lanyard that will hook to the Wilcox mount just in case that pops off. This is a quick release for the night vision so that if you get hung up in a branch or something, it's not going to tear your head off. And if this falls off, that lanyard is just a little extra layer of protection. So that's kind of cool right there. So does that basically make up the helmet? Yeah, I think so. And, you know, if you're on a budget, I don't know, you know, the manufacturer's not going to recommend this, but you can buy this mount system right here, and you could screw that to any helmet you want, right? So something maybe you already have, good grief, a bike helmet, be better than nothing, right? But you could mount a night vision monocular on there, or what have you. All right, so that makes up the helmet. That goes in here. All right, now the big show. All right, should I put this on or should I show you? Well, I'm going to show you the back really quick. So what's kind of interesting is a lot of the stuff that I learned from my packing and organizing and setting up gear for wildland firefighting really comes into play with this as well. It's a very similar concept where you're going out on basically 12-hour missions. You got to pack all your own gear, and you've got to be self-sufficient for 24-hour periods, sometimes 48-hour periods. So there's a lot of parallels, and I've even find myself kind of intermixing gear, and it seems to work really good. One thing that I was having a hard time finding on my body armor here, or plate carrier, is a Spiritus Overt, this one here in tan, was a way to do hydration on this. And I tried different things and backpacks, and they were all very bulky. Well, what turned out to be the best was my inner bladder from my Mystery Ranch, or bladder holder Mystery Ranch Wildland pack that holds a Camelback 3-liter military this is, I think, same one that the troops use, Camelback, 3 liter. And this was part of my wildland pack that I would use when I was working on the engine. And the reason why I set this up this way, you know, for wildland is I want something that I could, if I was going to leave the engine, I would need to go down and deal with some hose or something, or jump on with a hand crew and help them. I could snap different components onto the pack, and I could change it, right? Because how you operate, you have to have your pack on all the time with your fire shelter. How you operate on an engine is very different than how you operate, let's say, on a hand crew. So when you are on that mixed mission role, you need to have a versatile pack system. So that was something I kind of had in play before, but this works really good. I've got some snaps on here. You can see right there, these just snap onto the loops. There's a loop that runs around there, and there's a 3 liter deal of water. They could come off in 15 seconds. I can add it or I could subtract it. So that's the only thing I run in the back. Now, if I'm going to be in a vehicle for a long time, driving around and stuff, I'm not going to want this on my back. I'm going to want this to be clean and as smooth as possible, and not pushing me out, so I could take that off as well. So that will kind of get rid of that, or that will kind of take care of that. So here on the side, should I just put this on? Maybe, yeah, let me just put this on real quick. All right, get that microphone on there, let the LARPing proceed. Okay, the whole kit here, again, is the Spiritus Overt. Really nice, very slim, trim plate carrier system that is super, super modular. What's nice when you get into the system, they're going to cost a little bit more than some of the cheap ones, but I wouldn't waste money buying stuff that's not well made. You know, do your research on this. It'd be better to buy something of quality when it comes to this, because it's the foundation of your whole system, and it's got to be comfortable. So underneath, of course, are military grade ceramic, lightweight ceramic rifle plates. They're not the 4, I think they're the 3+. So basically AK-47 and 5.56 rated, multiple strikes. Okay. So from this, you'll see on the right side, I'm a right side normal shooter. I've found what I do with this is I think about it, and I watch and learn, and I really have great access to some ex-Special Forces guys that are big subscribers, contributors to the channel, who watch this stuff, and then they hit me up with letters. It's like, dude, take that garbage off, or okay, you're on the right track with this. So I'm not just coming up with this on my own. I'm not taking hardly any credit for it. I'm just listening to what people who know tell me and trying to make a system that works best for me. And what works best for me is to set up the equipment and then go and run with it. Do 500 rounds, 200 rounds, you know, different variations. Do it at nighttime, do it in the daytime, do it in rain, you know, do it in hot weather. So you really know, you'll find out really quickly what works and what doesn't work. And what works best for me is keeping this whole side very, very clear. If I'm going to be putting on a battle belt or like a Unity clutch, and I'm going to be having a pistol riding it pretty high, I want to be able to have access to this as a secondary. And I also definitely don't want anything interfering here with my buttstock, right? This has got to be all kept clean in here for me. I don't want anything touching me, so there's nothing going to be here on the side. Poor microphone. Okay, I think we got that sorted. Okay, so let's go with the left right here. So the left right here, I have a pouch that's specifically made for night vision, and this is, I have a PVS 14 in white phosphor. So this is a monocular that hooks to the helmet. I guess I could show you. I know there's a lot of folks that are not familiar with this. They're probably interested. So how it works is, if you need the night vision, you simply pull it out, and then it clamps onto this mount right here, and then trips down in front of your eye right there, and you can see it's incredible. I mean, what a capability, unbelievable. I go out almost every night with it, just practicing. Sometimes I take my quad and I drive around. You drive around at full speed, just tearing through everywhere with that night vision. It's amazing. What an amazing capability. So I keep that PVS 14 in this Velcro pouch right here, and I could just slap that on at any time. And these pouches are padded. They're pretty good quality, so that it will protect it a little bit. I wouldn't say that they're fragile, but you know, they're kind of expensive, so you don't want to beat them up. And having it right here is kind of an area you tend to protect your ribs a little bit. It's kind of a sensitive, tender area. So, and the other thing is, it gives you something to kind of wedge your arm against when you're spending a lot of time. I know in long carbine classes that I've had, a lot of time holding those rifles up, especially when you get a suppressor at the end, man, your arms get really tired. And if you can tuck that in there like this and kind of rest that against that pouch right there, that seems to be very helpful to me. Next up here is, this is T-Rex arms. This is just a little, it holds a tourniquet. It's a little sleeve that you can just slide your tourniquet in there and that can pull out. And I ran a second, this is my med kit down here. This is called an Abdominal Sac. And inside of this guy, and all this stuff can be added or subtracted. But this side here, I have everything hooked together with a pull tab on it, and this is my whole kit right here. So I'm gonna have an Israeli bandage, trauma shears, decompression needle, a quick clot, that sort of thing. And don't forget toilet paper. Or whatever you can get, you know, or you'd be tearing your shirt pockets off. But this is all in a nice bundle so you can grab it quickly. And this is from T-Rex Arms, that little kit. I cannibalized it out of their bag because I like this bag better. And in the front zipper right here, I'm going to keep two things. Don't overload it, you know, don't overthink it, but keep it simple. Another thing that I learned on wildland firefighting is, man, I don't know about what a combat zone is like, but I've heard of the fog of war, and I've heard of how confusing things can get. And if you're having to jot down names or license plate numbers or frequencies or times or whatever, you can't remember all that stuff. You want to have a pen and a pad. So get yourself a Ride in the Rain pad, a Sharpie or whatever, and keep that so you can record that information right there. And that's all that I put in that bag. There's an extra pair of hearing protection in there. Okay, so next right here, this is a Spiritus. It's a little small fold-up pouch that's the handiest little thing. When you're not using it, it just simply melts away. Look how thin that is. Just goes away. But this is where I keep my radio. So I'm either going to grab probably, you know, whatever we're using, you know, of course, but any radio will work. So I'm going to keep this open, and I'm going to put my radio in here. And I also use a remote mic, and I've found this to be very, very nice. It'd be nice to have the comms mounted inside the helmet, but you know, that's you can't do everything. So this is a nice compromise. The little Bofangs, they have the same plug. This is the plug system there that mounts like this is just a Kenwood head set. So I think they're pretty standard, and this works great. So I can plug this in here, right here, and this is exactly how I ran it on my wildland pack. That way I can put the radio here in the pouch, and of course our lanyards that we make, right? And that lanyard, and I've got the little clip deal that clips in there and locks in. So now the radio is tethered, right? I won't lose it. I did lose a radio on a fire training one time, and everyone had to go look for it, and I was really embarrassed. I don't want that to happen again. So I can still access it, but it goes in the pouch there. Now, when it's noisy or windy, or I want to just be quiet, now I can talk and hear from this microphone right here, the remote, right? It's just got its own key on there. You can key it, but that fits right there perfectly on that loop. And now, instead of the speaker being buried down in a bag where I can't decipher it, now I can hear it very clearly, and I can push and talk to it, just like you'd see, like police use. And these things, I mean, you can get these things on eBay for nothing, right? And that's just all woven in, and so I don't have any wires exposed. It's pretty clean. This right here is exactly what I kept for wildland firefighting. This holds an extra pair of reading glasses. Now I'm wearing contacts now, and I typically wear contacts, but there's a lot of times you get dirt or dust in them, and you'll blink one out and it'll fall out, and I didn't want to be at a disadvantage. So I've always, even firefighting, I wanted to have a backup pair of goggles. Or reading glasses. Fun fact, Teddy Roosevelt had poor eyesight, and when he went into combat, he led men in combat. He was so concerned about not being able to see. I read somewhere that he had special pockets sewn all over through his uniform where he'd stashed multiple pairs of glasses. He was so paranoid about, you know, trying to lead men and not being able to see. So I keep right there on top, right there. Here, I can show you. It's just a little zipper pouch. You can simply, this is Mystery Ranch. You can simply put it in there, and a spare pair of glasses. And also it's nice if in the middle of the night, if you wanted to grab this stuff and, you know, there was a problem down there and you didn't know where your glasses were, it's just something you might want to consider if you can't see very well. Okay, so moving over here, another thing that I have found that's very, very helpful is just having a light that that's going to be hands-free, that's not dependent upon, turn it on there. Is it on? Oh, I got tape on it. it's not dependent on you holding it, so you can be hands-free. Yeah, I know there's a light on your rifle and there's a small light on your helmet, but having just a little light like this is very, very nice. And this is the little black diamond. I don't know the model, but it also has a red option. So if you don't want to have a white light and you want to have that red light for reading maps or whatever, that's an option too. But this is super handy. Took a little bit of head scratching to figure out how to mount that on there. I see guys with these same lights. I think Grantham even had one draped around there. It was kind of hokey. What I did is that this mounting system on the back, if you take a little Leatherman and kind of refile the shape of it, you can get it so it fits perfectly right on a piece of that molly gear, and it's very secure, and it tilts. You can tilt it down to shine on the ground when you're walking, or you can tilt it up. And I like the push button. It takes enough effort, and it's pretty hard to push that it's not likely to come on inadvertently. So that is working out really good. Okay, so moving on down here, so I put a small knife in here, and this is something I hadn't thought of, but one of my consultants who actually worked with Special Forces and has a lot of experience with I don't rat him out here. He's like the James Bond of the Pacific Northwest. Made a good point when he saw this knife, and he said, you might want to consider a wooden handled knife. And I thought, wooden handle, we have all these materials. And he made the argument. He said, well, not that this will happen to you, but just something to consider. I decided to have a high quality, really tough wooden handle knife made, because if I ever needed to chop out of a helicopter or something was on fire, this plastic can burn and melt and fail. And can you imagine grabbing with your bare hands molten plastic? He said the wood won't do that. It's just something to consider, right? I hadn't even thought about that before. But so what I did, this is a SOG Seal Pup. This is just what I had on hand. I'm not going to go out and buy something special for this. And it came with kind of a goofy sheath that had a bunch of a fire steel stuff on there. But inside that sheath was a very tiny, small plastic insert. And here, I can show you. Maybe I can show you. Yeah, so what I did, there's that insert. I pulled that insert out very carefully, and I put Velcro on it, and that sticks right there to the plate carrier. And then this goes down there and it wedges it in there nicely, right? So it comes out. The friction wasn't quite enough, so I put a piece of not the scratchy side, but the soft side of the Velcro. I just pressed it down in there, and so now it's got good friction, right? So that's and it'd be nice to have a knife. I've been watching a lot of videos of the rioters and conflict. I find it very interesting. I try to watch any video that comes up with a guy or a woman that gets into a situation where you have to defend yourself against people. And what I see happens alarmingly often is people get their weapons taken away from them, and then they're in all sorts of trouble, right? So I thought to myself, it would be nice to have a knife for all sorts of different reasons. But if you get into a situation where you're overwhelmed and your primary firearm has been taken from you, or it's just not, who knows what, right? And you have people that are attacking you, typically you're going to go into a fetal position. That's what you see on the ground, and your arms come in like this. That's why you see guide holsters for guys that do big game hunting up in Alaska and such. A guide holster is typically mounted on the chest, because if you have to get in a fetal position and protect yourself, your hands immediately go to the area where that firearm is, and you might be able to get out there and get it. And I was kind of thinking of the same thing with this. If you got in a situation like that, and you had 5-6 people that were kicking you or hitting you with bats and stuff, you could probably still get a hold of this, where something in a pocket might be difficult to get to, and you could come out fighting, right? Heaven forbid, but let's be realistic. Okay, so this little unit right here is so clever. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. This is Spiritus is called their Microfight, and it's basically, it's called a placard, and the placard is hooks on with these Fastex buckles, Velcro on the back, so it sits down very secure. And there's 2 compartments in here that are basically just empty compartments that you can accessorize however you want to. So you'll have to determine, what is it you're going to be doing. And also you need to be thinking, when you're figuring this stuff out, am I putting this together to defend my home? That is going to be very different than maybe you're going to grab this in your truck and you're going to go help a buddy and you're going to patrol around your neighborhood, right? So you got to think about that. How am I going to use this? and let's set it up. And you may find that you need two. You need to set up different ways. Maybe you need to set it for a shotgun. Maybe you need to set it for a carbine. But what's nice about these systems like the Spiritus is that you could simply unhook this placard and you could have one that's already built out that's, say, set up for submachine gun, 9mm, or even shotgun without replacing everything. So a relatively small investment, and you could have those all in your bag, and in 30 seconds you can snap off and snap one on and have all those options. So how I have chosen to set mine up is I like the 20-round mags. Why do I like the 20-round mags? I just find them to be a lot more handy. You know, I'm not going into Fallujah, right? I mean, 20 rounds, that's the way Eugene Stoner originally designed the magazine that he originally designed for the AR, right? They don't stick down. They're much handier, They're easier to index. They're easier to work with. And I just like them. It's just a personal choice. So I run the 20 mags, and they're lighter and they fit so much better. You don't have all that extra sticking up there. So I just have two 20s right there with mag poles on them. Because they sit a little bit deeper, the mag poles make them very nice and easy to come out. They're very easy to index. If I need to come up, you can simply grab, you can come in. Right? Very, very easy. They go back in nicely. Great retention. No problem whatsoever. Two Glock mags over here, right? So two Glock mags right there for Glock 17 that I'll carry with different. I'll take the clutch. I'll use the Unity clutch on there. So there we have that. So there's 3 mags total. Now this front pocket right here, there's a nut pocket. So as you see this, you know, there's Velcro on the inside. You put different attachments in there. But once you decide what you want, I leave this one empty. Well, why? Because I'm filming on my cell phone. Cell phone's really important, and I want a place for my cell phone that's going to be protected that I can use. I'm going to be using that for communication. I'm going to be using that for taking pictures. I might even be using that for video. So one thing that's really cool with the cell phone with this system right here is that if I use an iPhone 11 Pro Max, so it's a pretty big one with a super extended battery case from Apple, so the runtime on it is like a couple days. In this particular environment, you're going to want to have a body camera if you can have it, because it might come down to, if you have to defend yourself, it might come down to he said, she said, and someone might be lying about you, and there's people sitting in jail because they've been falsely accused. So having a record of that's important. So this was a big part of that component, why I leave this one empty. Not only it's just nice to have a place for administrative, if you wanted to add extra magazines, if you wanted to have paperwork in there, if you wanted whatever, you don't fill everything up. But what I can do, and I've tested this and it works really good, is I can take my cell phone, I can start the camera, and I can slide it in here, and the lens sticks up right here, and everything, I can set it on that wide angle setting, everything that's happening in front of me is being recorded. I can see my hands, I can see a really wide bit of real estate, what's going on, and I could be recording that. And I could, you know, save myself from potential liability issues, right? So I really do set this aside basically just to hold my phone, and I don't put anything in there. Now the way this comes from Spirit is that this is just an open pouch, and that's not ideal. That wouldn't work for a phone, because if you bend down or you're crawling around or jumping, everything's going to fall out. So there's another company, I forget the name of it. It's AXO or AXL or something, but they make a zipper top for this. This is so cool. Check this out. I don't want to mess up my whole thing, but it's basically just a small zipper. You see the bottom of it? I just need to see the bottom there. It's just a little bottom insert there that is made to fit in the Spiritus microfight system that gives you an ability to zipper that shut right there, so that's secure, right? So whatever you put in there, you can zipper it, and it's done. And I put heat shrink, fire going on. Heat shrink on these guys so I can get to them quickly, and I always pull from left to right. Right there, like that. That's what I like. I just get used to it. I set up my zippers that way. Even though they're dual zippered, that way I just get used to it. I can open it up and get my phone or stow my phone and cover it back, right? So that's that. Okay, so this right here, this is Microbat, just a small, they call it the half candy pouch or the small candy pouch. This is where I'm going to keep all my batteries for everything that I need to run here, as well as a whistle. In the Minuteman kit, now if not everyone or you guys can't get batteries or radios sorted out, or just don't have the money to invest in that, remember, you know, you can come up with a system of whistles. you just use a whistle and have it, write down what it is. Keep it simple. Have like 3 commands, like so many blows. 3 blows means come to me. 1 blow means all clear, you know, that sort of thing. And you can communicate over long distances with just by using whistles. And I also just put a small compass on there, as in an urban environment, I guess if you can't see or it's nighttime, you don't know what direction. Yeah, meet me a mile north of our location. You know, you might want to have a compass for people like myself that have poor senses of direction. Keep my batteries in here. So I'm going to have 3 styles of batteries in here. And what I do, this is the way we do it on wildland firefighting, is you wrap them up with tape. They're less likely to jump around and make contact and run down. I had some batteries. No, it wasn't batteries. It was, this doesn't even relate. It was a funny story. I had a 77 Bronco, the last year of the old body style. And it had the fuses were inside the glove box. And I had some 300 Weatherby Magnum shells in there from hunting. They'd just been in there loose, bouncing around. One of those things made contact with that fuse box. And of course, the cover is long since gone. And that round cooked off inside my gun, inside my glove box, and it almost gave me a heart attack. 300 Weatherby Magnum. So secure your stuff. So all lithium, because they last a lot longer. They store 20, 25 years, and they have way more power than your normal alkaline battery. So take tape. I use gaffer's tape, and at the very tail, just make a little tab so you can grab it. So you're not fooling around trying to peel that off there. That's the way we do it there in the fire ground. Same thing, lithium, AA's for the PVS 14 night vision, and a couple extra CR123s. So there's just a full complement of batteries in there like that. And you know, if you don't want it, you can take it off, right? If you don't need it, that's what's so cool about this. You take it off, you stick it on your helmet, and do whatever you want to, right? Options, being modular, it's cool. All right, anything else? Have we covered everything? I think so. Yeah, this will probably change. I'm always working with it, but make sure you go out and use it. It's one thing sitting in front of the TV or watching YouTube videos, you know, setting stuff up, and I get it. It's super fun. It's definitely my favorite hobby to do, but you got to go out and do it in all conditions. And what I find that my Mrs. W thinks I'm crazy, but what I find when I'm doing particular work and things, I'll throw the vest on and I'll try to work with it. Not all the time, but when possible. How does it work when you're in the tractor? Are there any conflicts? How does it work if I need to spend a lot of time in a vehicle? You know, so I'm always dragging it around, always carrying it and trying it on and making sure that it works. But, oh, finally, why the tape? This is fiberglass reinforced tape. It's like imagine like your regular like Christmas package tape, but way, way stronger, that's filled with fiberglass reinforcements. This stuff is very strong. You would be amazed what you can fix with this. And this is, again, another holdover from wildland firefighting. Always carried this on my pack. The first time I saw this done was I met some smoke jumpers, and a couple of the guys had the fiberglass tape on there. And I'm always like gear and how guys set stuff up and how it evolves over time. And I asked them about it, and they just said it's just used for so many things. You can repair some broken boots, you can repair this, you can repair a broken tool handle, just a million different things. So I always carry that on there and find it really useful. And for this application, I thought, well, if you needed to, you know, if you needed someone broke into your house and you were waiting for the good guys to arrive, you know, and you can tape their hands up, you can tape their feet up, you can fix different things. You can, a pair of boots, a broken strap, you could lash magazines to something, who knows what, right? A bazillion different reasons. And I just use a locking carabiner off my old firefighter bunker gear that's fall rated, that a guy could rappel off of. Not that I'd use it. Oh, and over here in a Leatherman. The more I look, the more I add. Leatherman, this is their factory case, and the Leatherman Wave. I like it because it has scissors. I find scissors really, really handy, especially for first aid applications, cutting threads, braiding flesh, cutting Velcro so you can stick all this stuff on there. Is that it? Do I have anything else on here? So there's the back. You can see the hydration. Now when I'm using the hydration, I'll bring that up on the left side over here, not the right side, so I can access it, but I rarely need it. It's just kind of there for an emergency. Just an option, right? So that's how I set it up. So that's my Minuteman kit. So if Jeff, for example, my neighbor said, you know, calls on the radio and says, hey, we have a problem, you know, we have some bad guys over here, or something's happening. This is always ready to go at a minute's notice. Grab my rifle, I grab this black bag. It's got backpack straps on it. It's a very high quality, heavy duty wildland firefighting bag. Everything I need's in there. I know I've got what I need. I've got my night vision, I've got my helmet, I've got batteries for everything, I've got extra ammunition, I've got first aid kits, flashlights, everything Leatherman, everything that I could possibly think of that a Minuteman would need. So if you know how we can set up a national database, it would be super cool if we had a website where guys could log in that were interested in this Minuteman concept and wanted to kind of set up a neighborhood watch area in their particular deal and get a dozen or half a dozen like-minded guys on board and kind of a place to start. It would be cool to say, okay, you got $500 to spend on this. This is where you start. You got 1,500 to do this, and on and on. But it comes down to rifle, a way to carry your gear, and a helmet, and some lighting options and some basic first aid stuff. So that's it. That's my show and tell. Take it for what it's worth, but I hope it helps. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you guys on the next video.